Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today is Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as we say sometimes. My name is John Kafalis, Larimer County Commissioner, joined by my Commissioner colleagues, Kristen Stevens and Jody Sheddock McNally. As is our tradition, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much for participating. Our next agenda item, forgive me for a moment. So I've introduced the three of us, but we're also joined by folks from the Clerk and Recorder's Office that are keeping track of this meeting, as well as Lorenda Volker, our County Manager, and some folks from our Public Affairs Department. And we have an awful lot of people just coming on in, so it'll be a good day. With that, first item on the agenda after Pledge of Allegiance is public comment. I don't believe anyone has signed up for public comment. Michelle, did anyone call in or register?
Not today, Commissioner.
All right. Before we close public comment, this is an opportunity. If there is someone who wishes to offer up to 3 minutes, express their opinion on something that's not necessarily on the agenda, this would be your opportunity. Going once, going twice? All right, then we'll close public comment, and the next order of business is approval of the minutes. Commissioner Stevens, would you offer the motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes for the week of May 13th, 2024.
Thank you. That is a proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That passes 3-0. Michelle, I believe we'll review the upcoming commissioners' calendar.
I will. Thank you, Commissioners. Here's your
you.
draft schedule for May the 27th through June 1st of 2024. On Monday, May 27th, county offices will be closed in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. On Tuesday, May 28th, Commissioners Stevens and Shaddock McNally will attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. Summer Conference in Vail, and that'll continue on Wednesday, May 29th. Also on Wednesday, May 29th at 11 a.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally may attend the Canned Aid Berthoud Adaptive Park Project groundbreaking event in Berthoud. And at 4 p.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally may attend the UC Health Poudre Valley Hospital ribbon cutting event in Fort Collins. On Thursday, May 30th, Commissioner Stevens and Shaddock McNally will attend the groundbreaking of the Interstate of I-25 Express Lanes project, Mead to Berthoud, and the location will be announced prior to the event. And at 5:30, Commissioner Shaddock McNally may attend the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority 2024 graduating class of the Front Range Fire Consortium, Lifebridge Church in Longmont. On Friday, May 31st, Commissioner Shaddock McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Forest Health Council legislative meeting. And then on Saturday, June 1st, there will be a Common Grounds with Commissioner Shaddock McNally, coffee with co-responders for Mental Health Awareness Month. Guests will be Sergeant Robert Cook, Deputy Dave Fayan, and Jeanette Jennings, co-responder clinician, and it'll be at Colorado Coffee Company at the Foundry in Loveland. That is all.
Thank you, Michelle. Colleagues, do you have any questions or comments, feedback? Anything, Commissioner? Commissioner Stevens?
I do not.
Nor do I. Thank you very much. We'll continue along. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. I will go through this rather quickly. Consent agenda items are typically items that are very administrative in nature. As far as we know, they're not controversial. And so we offer a motion to approve the consent agenda en masse. Commissioners have the option of pulling something off the consent agenda, and if we do that, then there would be more of a discussion. So let me go through that quickly, and then we'll continue on. For today's Tuesday, May 21st, 2024 consent agenda, the first two items that are listed are abatements, petition for abatement or refund of taxes exceeding the refund amount of $10,000. And again, abatements are a refund of taxes based on an agreed-upon valuation adjustment, and it can be a refund or reduction in property taxes that are owed. The next two items are agreements. The next items there are, yes, two items. The first is a construction services agreement engineering, bid number 24-02, project number 344, a federal aid project. And this is construction of the traffic signal of Highway 34 and Glade Road. This is between the county, the engineering department, and an LLC Lighthouse Transportation Group. The dollar amount here is approximately $672,000. Again, this is for a traffic light on Highway 34, the intersection and Glade Road. The next agreement is a recycling service agreement between the county and Springback, Colorado, for mattress and box spring recycling services. So if you've been holding on to those old mattresses, you actually have an option to have them recycled. This one, the vendor will take and recycle old mattresses received by the landfill. Solid Waste Department anticipates recycling an annual quantity of about 10,000 mattresses and box springs through this program. Additional transportation costs and other things. The terms of this agreement are June 15th of this year to June 14th of next year, and the dollar amount is, of course, dependent on the number of mattresses. So if you've been waiting to buy that new mattress or box spring, this might be an incentive. The next is appointments. Rescind appointments to the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board. Two individuals will be leaving the advisory board, and that's effective immediately. Moving on to liquor licenses. There are three items listed. The first is a liquor license report of changes. The Thirsty Moose, which is up in Red Feather Lakes, license type hotel and restaurant with optional premises, approval. The next item is regarding Westlake Liquors. They are also up in Red Feather Lakes. The license type is a retail liquor store, and approval and issuance. And then the third item, findings and order regarding, and this has to do with Horsetooth Store Gas and Liquor up on Horsetooth, by Horsetooth Reservoir Shoreline Drive. This is a transfer of a retail liquor license, approval and issuance. Moving on to miscellaneous, there's one item, and then there are a number of what we call stipulations. The first item is a request for approval to enter upon lands, our land stewardship, Department of Natural Resources. This has to do with weed mitigation. And then the remaining items under miscellaneous are stipulations, and a stipulation is basically an adjustment of the property value, and all of these pertain to tax year 2023. There are about 14 of them, but I'm not going to go through them individually. Finally, ordinances. Second revised Larimer County Code ordinance. This has to do with Chapter 6 regarding animal control. And this is a second revised County Code ordinance. Chapter 6 animals has been published the requisite 30 days and is not ready for signature. So this ordinance can become effective. Those are the items on the consent agenda. Do either of my colleagues wish to remove any of those items? Nope. Then Commissioner Shattuck McNally, please, would you be kind enough to offer the motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda for May 21st, 2024.
Great, excellent, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that passes 3-0. Moving on, we are fortunate to have a commissioner guest and like to invite Josh Roberts. And this is regarding a community wildfire defense grant through the U.S. Forest Service for the Red Feather Lakes area. Josh, if you would be kind enough to introduce yourself for the record and share with us the good news.
Josh Roberts, Mitigation Coordinator, Larimer County Office of Emergency Management. And yes, good morning, Commissioners, leadership, colleague, and fellow Larimer County residents. I do have some great news to share. 1 week ago today, so last Tuesday, we were notified of a large grant award that we received from the U.S. Forest Service Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program, or CWDG is the acronym if I say that. It is for approximately $9.7 million to be spent on community wildfire defense things in the larger Red Feather Lakes area. And it's really, to speak with a little more precision, the award is basically to implement those previously written, approved, and current community wildfire protection plans that the communities themselves had a hand in writing. So these communities we're talking about specifically: Cherokee Meadows, Crystal Lakes, Glacier View, and Poudre Canyon, mostly in alignment with the fire protection district boundaries, or those geo areas that those plans are written to. That amount, it's broken down over a 5-year performance period. We don't yet have the actual grant agreement. It's just the award. And so that vehicle that will allow us to really begin substantial work, it might take a little while for that. But we do have the award. It's public, so I feel like there's no going back now, they can say. But it's broken up into 5 sort of general outcome categories to various amounts. One outcome category is wildfire mitigation treatments in open space, along roadways, and on large acre private properties. The second outcome category, education on home ignition zone concepts, mitigation work to either establish or improve defensible space around structures, and just that enhancement of social capital and resilience within the community itself. Third outcome category, improvements to evacuation routes and plans and procedures. The fourth category, enhancement of the capacity, both in the community and our capacity to an extent, collective capacity to deal with this post-treatment woody biomass, the woods that we're going to be pulling out of these areas with this work. And then the fifth category is just effective administration and management of the grant of the project. So those are the 5 outcome categories, what that massive award will be spent on over the course of 5 years. I mentioned we don't have that grant agreement vehicle in place. So really one of the big messages that I have to offer right now is this is super exciting. It will mean a tremendous amount for these communities, for us, but it'll take a little time. So there's this, we can't just dip right into the money quite yet. We got to do those formal administrative type things beforehand and just set the project up for success over the longer term. So time to be excited and be patient all at the same time. The other thing that I'll mention too is that this particular project as written, the proposal and this award, it's connected to a bigger picture in many different ways. Connected across the landscape, it will effectively tie in with some other projects that we have ongoing or planned, both federal projects, state projects, and local projects. It's connected to the communities in a really deep way because what we envision for this project overall is to involve and engage the communities in some of the decision on precision of detail as we go about and implement this project. In essence, these communities helped us craft the proposal, and we want to engage in the implementation part of the proposal the same way we developed it, which is together. So that's another big connection piece I'd like to highlight. There were a number of organizations and partners that helped us craft this proposal. There are 2 organizations and 2 individuals specifically that we couldn't have done it without them. They really helped in a very deep, meaningful way. And so if I can call them up just so that I can give them some public thanks. So that's Daniel Balker with Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed and Allison Pegg with Upstate Colorado. If you guys come up, please. And again, I really just my heartfelt, sincere thanks for all your efforts, with this project. Y'all couldn't have done it without you. So if we can I give them a round of applause, please? So there's, I want to give a few more flowers if I can have another minute or so. With this round of grant awards that the Forest Service gave to us. So this particular award, it's connected to some other projects as well that were awarded through this grant announcement. So the Ember Alliance, another really heavy partner with us, and Red Feather Lakes Fire Protection District, they also received an award to update their community wildfire protection plan. We couldn't include them in this particular implementation project because they didn't have a current plan, but the Forest Service awarded them an amount of funds to update their plan because we have ideas for a second phase of this project, to loop them into the project as we go in the years to come. I also want to give a big shout out and congrats to the Estes Valley Fire Department. They also received an award through this grant program, roughly $500,000 for some work in their area as well, which we very much support. And it's all connected throughout the Front Range, throughout our Northern Colorado Fireshed Collaborative, all of this work. So there's just a tremendous amount of positive energy when it comes to this work up and down the Front Range, not just here in Larimer County, but certainly here in Larimer County. So I don't know if you guys wanted to say anything or if you had any questions, but we'd be happy to take some questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Josh, and thank you, colleagues. A wonderful example of partnership. Commissioner Stevens, do you have any questions or comments?
I do. Well, first of all, congratulations. That's awesome. That's wonderful news. I appreciate the work that you did, the work that went into doing a proposal like that. $9 million is a lot of money, and we know there's a lot of work to be done. One of my questions is, does the grant allow for some administrative, or do you intend to hire on some new folks to be able to administer and push some of this work out?
Yeah, great question. Yes, to both. So yes, there is some administrative activities that are allowed as part of the grant, and that's baked into our grant proposal. And in terms of hiring staff, when CPRW, Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed, what's written into their proposal, we're going to need a couple of people to help manage the project on the ground end, and I think we have plans to do that in the work for Daniel here. So, and there is a little bit of some flexibility that we have to plus up as needed. But we also know that at the same time, we want this money to go to where it needs to go, ultimately to the projects themselves to reduce that risk. We just want to make sure that we do it in a way that we can manage it over the longer term. So, yes, great question.
And then you talked about the excitement, but also a little bit of hurry up and wait. And so when do you expect these dollars to start coming in?
That's literally the $9.7 million question.
Okay. So as soon as the federal government acts, which we always know is really quickly.
Yeah.
Right? So,
to their, to that end, really. So this is only the second grant cycle, if you will, of this program. It's a massive, massive investment through this program that the federal government's providing. So there is sort of a patchwork of across the nation. Some states sort of opt in to help with management. Other states allow the federal government to work with the sub-applicant direct. So there's some of those things to still kind of figure out. If I had to put a time frame on it, I really don't want to, but we're probably looking a year or more before we can really begin work. Now, the good news is that'll afford us some time to work out the planning pieces of it, to really engage with these communities in a deep way to refine some of those details, so that we'll be ready to make some decisions and to put that money to the ground on that work whenever it does land with us.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't mean to ask you a question that was unanswerable, but just thank you to Daniel and Allison too for your work and your cooperation. We appreciate the partnership very much, and we can't do this work alone. And so, there again, congratulations, big award. We're glad to celebrate today.
Yeah. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you. I'm just jumping up and down on my seat, but you can't see it. I know when you told me you had submitted this grant, we thought it was a long shot, and there's no match, so that's even more of the beauty of it, right?
Right.
And bipartisan infrastructure law authorize $1 billion into this fund. And you're right, it was the second round. And last year, Colorado didn't receive much love, maybe one grant. And so
Yep.
Colorado, some of us started squawking about that. And so this year we got a little love. So first, thank you for the tremendous amount of work that you've done together to receive this. And first, let me just say thank you to the Ember Alliance and Coalition for Provo Watershed. Selfishly, I'm grateful for opportunities to plant 700 trees on Sunday with you all. So I want to thank you for both of you, all of you, for the work that you're doing to educate the public, to do restoration work, and to do the mitigation work. And it's all connected. And the work that you're doing to do also watershed protections and cleanup, it's tremendous work. And I'm so grateful that we're partnering and that we have this collaboration. I call it the Larimer way, but that's the only way we're going to reach out to the scale and scope of the need. So I know it sounds like a lot of money for $9.7 million, but really it's what, a $200 million problem in Colorado, maybe more, to really do the scale and scope of what we need to do to mitigate the wildfire risk in our state, and specifically how we're going to address our watershed protections along with our riparians. It's just so critical. So even if you're not up there like we were, to still see the devastation and how it's not growing back as much as we would like to see it as fast, everyone downstream literally is impacted by this work. And I wanted the public to understand that. And the work that the dedication of all of you is just tremendous. And I think the way the Colorado Wildfire Protection Program is set up to build that social capital and that connection matches kind of our strategic plan as a county, that we want to make those resiliency hubs and make those community connections and connections and partnerships with our nonprofit and NGOs or non-government agencies, because we can't do this alone. And if we don't work together, we're not going to leverage the resources as this grant to accomplish this work, which in the long run needs to be done, as my opinion, as fast as possible. So I don't like the hurry up and wait, but we know that's how it goes. But I appreciate how they really try to get those communities involved, because it is on private landowners. We have to have those partnerships. And now we need to work on how we can help get onto federal lands to replant. So it's a goal of mine. So anyway, I just want to thank you all for the collaboration, the partnerships, and the dedication. You all have been, for years, just literally boots on the ground, in the mud, doing this work, forming these relationships and partnerships. And it's been such an honor and privilege to try to put my nose in and try to stand side by side and literally go out and get my boots and hands dirty to kind of help you all along. It's really, I need to get outside, so thank you for my mental health for getting me outside this weekend. But also, we just know we can't do this alone. And I just want to thank you, Josh. You have been a phenomenal asset to the county since you came on board. I was squawking right away when I got in office, so we need to be more at the table and be more involved and be connecting. And Lori, thank you for bringing Josh on board. He has been a tremendous game changer, and thank you for the relationships that you've built. And I think we're better for it. Our whole community is better for it. And it's a great model for, I know the federal government and NACO, the National Association of Counties, are paying attention, because of that disaster resiliency roundtable in DC that Lori and I went to was, certainly we're held up as kind of an exemplar. So I want to congratulate you all for a job well done. This $10 million is just a drop in the bucket, but it's a big drop in the bucket. And I look forward to partnering on more things, and just can't say enough how truly excited I am. And I can't wait to see how this all works together. And whatever you need from me, I'm there. So I appreciate it very much. And Lori, thank you, because this is also under your leadership and tremendous work. And so I just can't, I could talk for hours on this. I am just so excited about this award. Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Really, really great comments, and you're spot on. Lots of work to do, and this is a great step in that direction there. So appreciate y'all's leadership, internal and external.
Well, I'd like to make sure that others have an opportunity.
Perfect.
So I have a question and a couple of quick comments, and then I'd like to see if our county manager has anything to share. And also, you don't have too much of a choice in the matter, but we're going to pause things so we can take a picture. And then we'll get on to our discussion item. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge that the Office of Emergency Management, we have our director, Lori Hodges, here, and some of her team, and they do extraordinary work. This is one example of that. So I wanted to make that acknowledgement. My question is this: why is wildfire mitigation important, and in particular up in the Poudre Canyon and the Red Feather Lakes Glacier View area? How have previous efforts around wildfire mitigation helped with possibly redirecting the path of the Cameron Peak fire in 2020 a little bit away from Red Feather Lakes, the village up there?
Yeah. Great questions. And on your first question, why is wildfire mitigation important? I feel like I could be here literally all day.
Yeah, but I'd prefer you not be here all day.
Yeah, Lori too. I have other work to do. She'll ask me to get on, I'm sure. Obviously, we want to protect our way of life, here in Larimer County, our homes, our lives, protection of, from injury. And that's just the start. There's a ton of other benefit in terms of reduction of wildfire risk that work brings, whether it's to our drinking water, our watersheds, to the forest that we value and cherish that is so near and dear to us. So I'll probably stop there, in terms of why is wildfire mitigation important. But, I would like to lean on Daniel here, who's a forester. I can barely spell the word, I think, but Daniel would have some great insight in terms of what other work has been done in that area that I think speaks to your second question and how that might have impacted the Cameron Peak fire. Daniel, is there any comments you'd like to make?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. And maybe you could identify yourself and your organization, Daniel.
Yes, sir. My name is Daniel Bowker. I'm a forester with the Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed. So thank you. Great question, Commissioner. First, let me say thank you to the commissioners, Director Hodges, county leadership, Josh, Allison. This is an incredible award. We've been working hard for this for more than a decade, and this will make a huge difference. Also, really want to thank the communities. This is through and by the communities. We are following their leadership in facing their wildfire risk here. So that's something I wanted to say. As far as specifics on the Cameron Peak fire, that is a great question. We do know through watching the progression of the fire that some large blocks of broadcast prescribed fire, and some forest treatments, so thinning, mechanical forest restoration, that kind of thing, had an effect on the progression of the Cameron Peak fire. In particular, a big block of prescribed fire that the Forest Service did on Pingree Hill really slowed that progression as it was making a run towards Red Feather Lakes. And so that is some real visual evidence that this stuff works. And so we also, we work through the Northern Colorado Fireshed Collaborative with all of our partners, 30 plus partners up and down the Front Range, including Grand County, so this entire fireshed. But this opportunity here is really a meeting of the planning kind of minds. So we have the big plan through the Forest Service, the U.S. Forest Service, for what's going to go on federal ground. But we know we have to do not just the forest to the communities, but also what we call the front porch to the forest. And so people have to mitigate around their homes. They have to be able to evacuate. They have to feel like when they come back, there will be some trees standing. And so we're trying to do that kind of large-scale planning effort from both sides. So we have to do the big stuff that the Forest Service can do. We have to do the community-scale stuff as well, and that's the way we meet this problem. So hopefully that
Thank you,
answered your
Daniel.
question.
And
Yes, sir.
would you like to say a word or two? I didn't catch your name. Would you? We want to be fair here. I'm sure you have some wisdom to share with us.
Maybe a little. I'm Allison Pegg. I'm a regional grant navigator with Upstate Colorado Economic Development. So I serve all of the communities in Larimer and Weld counties on federal grants. So these two are the subject matter experts who made this grant happen, and I lended capacity in helping write 10 meetings and just make sure we did what we needed to do to get this grant submitted.
Great. Thank you, Allison. So just my comments very quickly, and then let's see if Lorenda wants to share anything, then we'll do the photograph. And one is that there are themes here, right? Watershed protection, forest health, partnership collaboration. I think this exemplifies all of that. And I know that we've had some good discussions in the last 24 hours regarding the importance of thinking about rural areas, mountainous areas, whether it's schools, whether it's building community resiliency, and I think this is a really great manifestation or example of that. That's all I have to say. Lorinda, anything you got?
I think I'll just add what Josh really didn't say is all of the work that leads into submitting a grant application. It's not just an application you just put in and hope for the best. It really is. It's been a years-long effort to get to this place, to gather all these community plans, to create the relationships. It doesn't end when the grant comes. It only really just begins. And so thank you for that. I hope you have the stamina to get through the next 5 or 6 years of more planning and implementation, because we know you're not going anywhere, right? You're going to see this grant through, right? So congratulations. This is
Great.
a really big deal. We really appreciate the work, and thank the partners who are not here, because we couldn't have done it without everyone.
Great. Thank you, Lorinda. Thank you, colleagues. So at this time, we'll pause for a moment, and I don't know if we have anything to hold up. I guess it'll just have to be us. Is there anything we can hold up? If not, we'll just take a picture, and then we'll move on to our discussion item.
Should have brought one of those big oversized checks. I don't know.
And we have one really important discussion item, and this is regarding a grant agreement with the American Rescue Plan Fund's Collaborative Project Grant Subaward for the expansion of the career and technical education programming and facilities. And we'll ask our Laura, if you would please introduce yourself and cue things up. We have a lot of good folks here in attendance.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. So I am Laura Walker. I serve as the Human and Economic Health Director for the county and have also had the privilege of being deeply involved in helping commissioners find opportunities to spend in our community the American Rescue Plan Act dollars that we were so generously given by the federal government in response to trying to recover from the pandemic. And so we've had a lot of innovative ideas. We've had a lot of projects come before this board over the last year and a half to be able to talk about how the partnerships in this community, just like the one we just saw, really make a big difference. And this one is one that I'm particularly excited about. We've been working towards this day for at least a year and a half. I would invite our superintendent from Poudre School District, Dr. Brian Kingsley, to come up. We also have the Chief Operations Officer from Thompson School District, Todd Picone, and Cheryl Zimlick from Bohemian Foundation. She is their president and CEO. I'll have them come up just because I know that there could be technical questions that would be better answered by the folks behind me. But these are the partners that have come together and been working towards expansion of the career and technical education programming in both school districts. You know, I've been in the human services space with the county for over 20 years, and I have yet to see until now this kind of partnership between the two largest school districts in our community. So sharing of resources to support students and enhance those opportunities, especially for those students that might not be college bound, is critically important for workforce development, for the appropriate bringing up of our next generation to the workforce. And I would invite any of the partners to come up and give you a little bit more perspective from each of their districts' point of view about what this $2 million infusion from the county, along with support from Bohemian Foundation, really means for these programs.
Thank you, Laura. Welcome, colleagues.
Thank you.
Morning, Brian.
Good morning, members of the Larimer County Commission and leadership. It's an honor to be here. Would it be okay if I invited the PSD staff and our Board of Education to come up here and join us?
Absolutely, and I presume you will identify yourself for the record.
Yes, sir. My
And
name
we-
is Brian Kingsley. I am the proud superintendent of the Poudre School District. And I'm here not just as a superintendent, but an ambassador to really accelerate learning and economic mobility for our young adults who are participants in our incredible school systems, not just in PSD, but across all of Larimer County. It has been for the past 3 years the vision of this school district, as I have a chance to serve at the pleasure of this Board of Education, to ensure that our students not just graduate from PSD, but they graduate with options. We recognize as our workforce evolves that there is honor and dignity post-high school graduation for students to go into 2-year programs, 4-year programs, potentially the military, or many of our students are graduating today as a result of this incredible work with industrial certification and college credits, that many of them are actually going into the workforce directly and have an opportunity to access high wage paying jobs and find incredible success. 3 years ago, at the helm of Cheryl Zemlich, the executive director for the Bohemian Foundation, and Laura Walker from the county, the concept of regionalism, I believe, was born. Now, I've only been a part of this incredible community for 3 years, but as the state of Colorado was trying to pursue opportunities that really centered on transformation, looking at career and technical education and exploring different ways for pre-K through 12 public education to pursue opportunities for our young adults to be more prepared to enter into the workforce or college and careers, as well as ensuring post-COVID that we have opportunities to really help them regulate and stabilize their own mental health and belonging. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're here today. The concept of bringing all of these groups of people together, our respective districts, really through the lens of vulnerability. Right? Not seeing ourselves competing with one another, but recognizing that we have limited resources, we have incredible talent, and supported by scholarship in our community, philanthropy in our community, nonprofit, as well as local government, there's an opportunity for us to think differently and think bigger. So the power of interagency partnership with our school systems is quite incredible. As a result of this investment, students in PSD have the opportunity to access program and resources in the Thompson School District, and vice versa. Students in the Thompson School District have the opportunity to access opportunities in PSD, which is really quite significant. So I want, on behalf of the Board of Education, the incredible staff, and I'm hopeful you can hear and ask questions of a few of the people who are boots on the ground. Having an opportunity to be the superintendent, I have an opportunity to work in partnership with these people to launch a vision into our community. But it is these incredible people who actualize that vision. And that vision isn't just for the future. I'm really proud to say that over the last 2 years, our school system has had the highest graduation rate that it's had in 17 years. And that's as a result of this incredible people finding creative ways to ensure that our students are not just experiencing high academic rigor, but we're trying to think creatively and out of the box to ensure that there's relevance to their learning experiences and all of our students become connected, not just to our adults, but to each other, and most importantly, their passions and interests. So on behalf of the Poudre School District, I just want to thank both you and the Bohemian Foundation for this grant opportunity. It's a significant investment that will be applied to our Poudre High School campus, and we will become actually a PSD Career Tech Center as a result of this opportunity, which is super exciting for the entire region. So again, on behalf of PSD, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Brian. How about we ask the folks from Thompson School District and perhaps Bohemian, and then we can have a conversation.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. I'm Todd Piccone, Chief Operations Officer with TSD. Really to extend on what Brian said, thank you. Thank you to the county, everyone at PSD, all our TSD colleagues. When you work in government, whether it be state, county, local, everyone's really good at working and figuring out what they need. What this really showed was when you tear down those walls and you open up and you collaborate across, boundaries and across your ideas cross. The success of communities is really based on what our kids, the opportunities they have. And that's really what's exciting. You look at the opportunities now that this will be able to provide our students. That's really, besides what we all do, you look at what the students and what they're now going to have. I mean, that's the tangible piece that is really just months from being in front of us. So with the collaboration, we're looking at a first responder pathway in addition to our Thompson Career Campus. It's exciting, even within that first initial conversation, you change and you adapt to what's out there, but that's coming in front of us. So we're really excited to start that endeavor here in the next, I think it's 9:45. So, we've got, it's going to happen pretty quick. So we've got partnerships lined up. And then also continue collaboration with PSD. So, I just want to say thank you, on behalf of TSD, our board, Dr. Schaefer, for this collaboration opportunity.
Thank you very much, Todd. Cheryl, would you like to say a few words? You tend to like to be in the background on these things.
I do like to be in the background. Cheryl Zemlick, President and CEO of Bohemian Foundation, and it's an honor to be here in partnership with the county. And thank you, commissioners, for approving your grant and working with PSD and TSD on this wonderful project. It's not, I would say it's been years, the start of the pandemic, when we started having this conversation. And I'm a product of Poudre School District, kindergarten all the way through graduating from high school. And I've never seen the collaboration that I've seen in the last few years between the two school districts, from the youth shelter to this project that we're embarking on now. And so the opportunities for our students are magnified, and what we'll see over the next 5 years will even grow as a result of this relatively small investment in the future of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I see that there are at least, I've lost count, but there are a number of Poudre School District Board of Education members, and I certainly want to thank them for their courage and their good work. I don't know, Kristen or anyone, would anyone from the Board of Education wish to offer a few comments before we ask questions or offer our feedback? Maybe you could identify your courageous colleagues.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the entire school board for this presentation, this grant that we're going to discuss here. And just also thank you for the collaboration. I think it's so important that between the school district, Thompson, Poudre, the county, the city, and the state, as witnessed last night, that it's just so important to be in work with each other and making sure that what we're doing throughout the county and the state is for the benefit of our students. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you who are present here. I think this would be a good time if my colleagues have any questions or comments. Let's see, Commissioner Shaddock McNally, kind of rotate around.
Thank you for rotating around, Mr. Chair. First, thank you all for being here today. It's great to see your lovely faces again, and thank you just for the partnerships. I've volunteered at a high level with Thompson School District for 20 years on district accountability committees, master plan committees, and organizations like Kids Pack and the community, and know that what we're seeing today is such a new era of collaboration and partnership, and I have never seen the collaboration and partnerships I have seen now, and I have to thank you all, because I do believe that is mostly due to the folks in this room and that desire to break down these walls and barriers and silos for the benefit of our children and our communities. And I want to thank first Cheryl Zemlick and Bohemian and Laura Walker. And it was Linda Hoffman at that time. I don't want to forget Linda, because this was at the beginning. And Lorenda. For pulling us all together to think about what we can do. We can do more together, and we are better together, and we can accomplish more when we break down and see that when we all can rise, we're all stars in the sky, and we can all shine brightly together because the sky is so big and there's so much we can do together. And I think as we think about our students and we think about as the county, we're very fortunate to receive this money from our federal partners to help recover from the pandemic. And when you look across the country and across even our state, a lot of jurisdictions decided, and I'm not criticizing their decisions, but some of them just dumped it into their general funds or their operating budgets. And us as a board, we wanted to be transformational, and we had great partners as Bohemian and the school districts and our cities that we decided it was better for us to be transformational and we could do a lot together. And the youth homeless shelter is another piece and evidence of that. As you saw, the wildfire grant, that's evidence and piece of that. And our youth, we think about all those communities that were disproportionately impacted and the importance of helping them recover and make sure everyone gets that same level of recovery. It's our youth have been impacted the most, in my opinion. So, and I think about our schools, they're like resiliency hubs and community hubs, just like our public libraries and other anchors in our community. And our school districts, they just serve as these hubs for community activities and services, and local governments. We're trying to partner and provide those opportunities. When you think about schools, end up being polling places, health clinics, summer camps, neighborhood schools, and local governments just bring that sense of connection to help improve lives, improve outcomes for all, and improve graduation rates. Congratulations to both Thompson and Poudre School District for outstanding numbers. I've been paying attention. They are fantastic numbers considering all the challenges, and just well done to everyone who's been a part of that. But also we have to think about the health of our community for improved mental health, behavioral health, sense of belonging and connection. And when families and community members see this kind of investment into workforce development and career technical opportunities, and see how we really want our youth to have all opportunities, because not every student is unique and has different learning styles and different career choices or dreams and aspirations. To know, I heard you say the Poudre Promise. I think Thompson is you have one all together for TSD or something like that. We're really focusing on what we provide to make sure every student feels that the community cares. We want to see them succeed, and we want them to have a lifetime of learning and trajectory. And I think it's really important that we support each other. And I think we've shown that recently, that it's really important to come together and do these things together, because we are accomplishing great things. I'm really excited about this. When you talked about first responders, it's EMS week, right? And we gave lots of examples of youth recently that have been touched by that and are moving on, that already saved a life by just doing one Narcan training, and now are out there being trained as EMTs and paramedics, and how important that is. And I think this is going to be a fantastic opportunity to expand our workforce and development, and to really show students there's lots of ways to success, and there's all community members, all occupations, all sectors in our community are so important. And so thank you all for being here. I'm really proud of these partnerships, and thank you for the work that you're doing. We all have hard decisions to make and all hard work to do, but I think together we're going to get through and keep progressing. And Larimer County is a fantastic place. It's the Larimer way, and I just really believe we're doing great things here. And again, thank you to Bohemian and Laura and Linda and Lorenda for your leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a couple questions, if that's all right. Is there someone here who can speak to the variety of programs that are offered? Because I think that would be really valuable for the public to hear, all the tens of people that are watching.
Wait just a minute.
So,
Before we go on any further, I'd like to give the Board of Education an opportunity to come up and introduce themselves. And then after that, I think, yes, it would be nice if we could hear from the Poudre School District staff about how this grant will be used.
Perfect, thank you.
So how about I introduce myself? I am Carolyn Reed. I'm with the PSD Board of Education.
I'm Jessica Zamora, Board of Education.
Jim Rokish, Board of Education.
Scott Schoenbauer, Board of Education.
Wonderful. Thanks, Carolyn.
And I would say I'd like to have Kathy McKay, who is kind of led the CTE project. at PSD come up and speak to it a little bit.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, with your staff.
Hi, I'm Kathy McKay, principal at Poudre High School, and this is my colleague Tanya Alcaraz, the Director of Career and Innovation in Poudre School District. So thank you so much for this opportunity for us to present the work that we've been doing in Poudre School District. You know, you were talking about some of the different mantras that we live by, and at Poudre High School we have a mantra. It's Ubuntu, I am who I am because of who we are. And I think this is an amazing demonstration of who we can be as a region when we come together and support our communities. And yeah, so this project was born with kind of all of these minds, and the concept was how can we take these career pathways, embed college opportunity, partner with industries. So we've talked a lot about the impact on students, but there's also great impact on our industry partners. Part of the grant will fund what's called the Pathways in Technology Early College High School program that's housed at Poudre High School, and it's been deemed advanced manufacturing pathway. So we have about 15 different industry partners. Woodward is our lead partner. Ames Community College and Front Range are partners as well. And we also have partners with Advanced Energy, Wolf Robotics, Inject Tech, Broadcom, 15 or so different industry partners who are really chomping at the bit for this talent pipeline. Currently, we have 88 students within this pipeline, and all these different industry partners have agreed to pay students a higher wage for having graduated and earned their degree. It's an associate of general studies with a focus on manufacturing. They've also agreed to internships and apprenticeships, mostly paid, which is awesome. And so like I said, we have about 88 kids in this pipeline. So the grant would go to funding the renovation of a space that would allow for machining and manufacturing, welding, computer-aided design. And what's awesome with that is that students will earn their associate, earn their certification, and then Woodward has donated some equipment, a vertical mill and a horizontal mill. And their plan is to use our facility when students aren't using it so that they can reskill and upskill their employees. So again, kind of this working together to serve all needs is just an incredible demonstration of Ubuntu. And then I'll have Tanya speak at the district level in terms of what the other CT programs that are involved.
Thank you. This is an exciting day for PSD and TSD. So thanks for having us. I'm Tanya Alcaraz, the Director of Career and Innovation. And one of the other pathways we launched this year on a small scale was our automotive program with a EV focus. And that is this funding will allow that pathway to grow and that program to grow. And of all of our pathways that we've launched that are district-wide for career and technical education, this one had double the enrollment. We have 84 students that signed up to participate. So some of the barriers we have in career and technical education, there's really two big ones: facilities, and then staffing and talented credentialed educators that can teach within these pathways. So this funding allows us to share some staffing, share some facilities, because it's hard to find those credentialed folks in these areas. And then the last part that we're really excited about is the collaboration of our work-based learning programs, apprenticeship development, internship development. Already this year, Thompson School District and Poudre School District, we have combined what we call our advisory committees. So we have a healthcare advisory committee, and that includes our post-secondary partners, our industry partners, K-12, And really, that is the governing body that helps us think about what we should be offering to prepare students for careers in the future. So next year, we're launching a medical assisting pathway. We have 25 students enrolled, and that came out of our advisory committee saying this is the right program for kids to start in high school. And then the next piece is this funding will also help us have a regional work-based learning navigator, and it'll pay for staffing for a business liaison. The business liaison is going to be housed at the Chamber of Commerce. We had a previous workforce innovation grant for the last 2 years, and we have seen a huge growth in our number of apprenticeships and internships available for students. And now this position is going to be able to continue, and it's regional. So when Woodward wants to hire new interns, they don't. It really doesn't matter to them whether they come from Poudre School District or Thompson or even Estes Park, because Estes Park is part of this collaboration and will benefit as well. And so now we have a regional focus, we have a business liaison, and we have a job board that is regional, not only for Larimer, it's expanding through Weld, through the NoCo Works initiative. So those are just a few highlights of how we're continuing to collaborate, and we're really excited about the programming and the spark and the infusion of this funding.
Wonderful. Thank you, colleagues. Commissioner Stevens, other questions or comments?
Yeah, well, I didn't know if somebody from Thompson wanted to speak to some of the programming there, too.
Thank you.
I would love to. Thank you. Yeah, so currently about 3 years ago, we overhauled an old elementary to Thompson Career Campus. So that houses medical pathways. So students are coming in with concurrent enrollment, whether it be phlebotomy, CNA. So they actually have certificates coming out of and earning college credits. And advanced manufacturing, construction trades. So that was within the advisory boards too. Construction trades is one that came to the top, whether it be HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and that's the true trade itself. So continuing that is this first responder pathway that's really we have a 101 already started in high school, and this will be the extension of that. So it's exciting because we're currently talking to the police chief, the fire chief, EMT chief, and they're ready to go. There's a meeting set up. Because you look at that industry and what kind of impact that we can have as a community into the first responder sector, it's pretty amazing. So there's a lot of excitement about it already, but there's, that's really our hub is our Thompson Career Campus. And then we also expanded the high school. So each high school has, whether it be a culinary pathway, there's a welding pathway in one of our schools, for future farmers pathway. So there's all those different pathways and growing. We're looking at a bond here in 24 if the board so approves it. And at that point, we'll also look at continuing expanding all the pathways in all the schools and at our central hub.
Thank you. Well, thank you for all the information. I won't ask the hard question of what do we do when the dollars are gone, because this is one-time funding that we got from American Rescue Plan, but I'm sure you're busy thinking about how to keep these programs going. I too want to thank everyone that was involved with the process. Certainly Cheryl, thank you for being helping us figure this out, because being given sort of $69 million to make transformational change in your community is quite challenging. And so we, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, we wanted to make sure that the work that we did and the dollars that we gave out were transformational, and I believe they are. And so thank you for sort of explaining how this will change outcomes for people, for students in Poudre and Thompson. And also, obviously, thank you for Laura. Where's Laura? Oh, there. Who brought this forward and who kept, bringing projects forward. We know that a lot of people suffered during the pandemic, and that's what these dollars were for, to really try to build people up, help people get back on their feet. So we did a lot of dollars towards housing and other projects, but economic mobility is really important. Brian spoke to this, and I think about people in our community who already didn't feel like they had economic mobility. They didn't have a way to build wealth, and the pandemic hit, and it was a double whammy for those folks. And so I think as we do this work, it's really important to think, how do we get folks into jobs that are high paying, where they can afford to live in our communities, and give back and have that success level that many of us had always expected as young people, and it does feel like it's slipping away a bit with affordability concerns in our community. So I really appreciate that piece of really figuring out how to help people get a career that they love, that feels meaningful, where they can build some wealth in their families. And so so grateful for that. And then the collaboration, I think, that was spoken about today is remarkable, to have that between the two school districts, Bohemian Foundation, the county. I mean, there's a lot of people that made this happen. I think that that's a model for the rest of the state, and honestly glad to hear that even Weld is, a part of that, because in many ways we're very connected. And so I appreciate people sort of thinking outside the box on that way, and how can we can use these resources, because they are finite, to really make a difference in young people's lives. So excellent work, all of you. I appreciate all of you, and thanks for letting me know what you're doing.
Thanks, Commissioner. I have a couple of questions. I hope you're not getting too tired standing, and appreciate, Carolyn, first of all, that helping us to facilitate a good conversation here, and making sure that we're recognizing your colleagues. I'm grateful for that. One question I have is, how are we integrating students with special needs, with disabilities, into these work-based learning opportunities? Who would like to answer that one? And the follow-up question would be, in terms of, I remember back in the 80s when I actually was a teacher, and if a little-known secret is that one of my jobs for a year was at Lesher Junior High School back then as a in-school suspension supervisor. Now, that's a really fun job. But I did teach as well, and it's a beautiful thing. So we talked a lot about career counseling, and I appreciate that Brian and others have talked about a range of options, post high school graduation or GED. So what is the state of career counseling, or what are we calling it these days? And then, of course, Tanya, the question about how do we involve all students in these opportunities?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so in Poudre School District, we have the ACE program, which is a CTE pathway, and I know Thompson has that as well. And we also have partnerships with SWAP, who is a DVR-funded organization that we partner with. Some highlights of some new things we've just done specifically, our PCA students have started a coffee cart in our transportation building. So our bus drivers now can get coffee, and in their break room, our students are getting work-based learning experience through the ACE program, in collaboration and partnership with our transportation facility because of the proximity. One of the other events we just hosted was a reverse hiring fair. So you're probably familiar with the hiring fair concept, where the businesses are set up and the students walked around, and this was for our seniors getting ready to graduate, and it was a hiring fair for students staying local. So it was businesses that were ready to hire students and provide that economic mobility, that training locally. But then in the afternoon, we switched the concept, and our employers went to a training to talk about how they might engage with students that have barriers to employment and what that might look like. And then our students were at the tables, and they were set up, and they talked about their assets and their strengths. And the employers went from table to table to interview the students and vice versa. So I'm excited to say we had 7 students employed from our reverse hiring fair that day. So those are just a few of the more recent things we've done.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, and I just share, actually, as a parent, our student has learning disability, so I get to see firsthand the process in going for our child into the nursing field. So It's, again, more of the collaboration piece. It's very easy to set curriculum and all this, within a box and departments, but it's really expanding out. So that's really what the focus is. It's not just about, this sector into, this specific student sector, but it's expanding it out. So that's something that is truly focused on there. And the other piece, celebration we had just recently is we have 6 former TSD grads within the last year. They're now full-time employees within the IT department. So you take the cybersecurity that created the interest, and then all of a sudden they're interns within, our system, and then they become full-time students or full-time employees.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anybody want to speak to the state of career counseling, or what we call it these days?
Hi, good morning. Julie Chaplin. I'm one of the assistant superintendents here in Poudre School District. And I think a couple of pieces that I would throw into the discussion. So career counseling, we have career counseling offices and support staff at all of our high schools. So all 6 comprehensive. And then we also have career counseling, work-based learning opportunities for our smaller schools, Poudre Global Academy. We also have for also Polaris, and then Centennial and PCA. And so that's a collective that they all work together. There's one person that supports all of those opportunities. And so all of those counselors work together. Sometimes we're hosting fairs collaboratively as a district to advertise college, scholarships, military, different work-based opportunities. And sometimes there's some individual engagement sessions with their communities as they're completing some of those applications. We've had FAFSA events and different things throughout our district, and so it's very live. It's very robust in terms of the amount of staffing that we contribute. And Tanya Alcaraz has been a great advocate for keeping that into our comp plans and keeping it as a priority to have with all high schools. And Kelby Benedict has also been able to support that with some of the funding from the Career Tech Center to be able to support our smaller schools. So it's really been a partnership and how we pull together and really think about that. The other piece I'd put into this space is just our new graduation requirements that were passed earlier and approved by our board, and gratitude to them as well, and my colleague Dr. Dwayne Schmitz and Kathy and Tanya and others who really looked at how we can expand opportunities for flexibility, for choice and voice within the graduation requirements. And some of our most impacted students are those that have plans for their individual education plan because of a disability. Maybe they're on a reading support plan, or they may be in the ELD program and have all of these hours of required service. And a lot of times that eliminates their options for electives and exploration. And so trying to think creatively about how we define graduation requirements, how some of those pieces that they're required to participate in can count towards them to gain more flexibility to engage in work-based learning and opportunities. So it's a multi-pronged approach in those pieces. So hopefully that was helpful.
Thanks, Julie.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, Dwayne, of course. Yeah.
Tried to get my colleague to step up, but she kindly said, Dwayne, go for it. She knows so much more than I do. But I just want to share, on top of everything Dr. Chaplin just shared, we also have the Future Ready Center, which is that physical presence down at the mall. And part of the function of that is to make these kind of opportunities more available and our community more aware. And on top of that, I want to mention the Future Ready website, which was a new thing for Poudre School District to really, well, it's been in existence for several years, but it was really revamped, really top-notch work. So people all through our community can get online and really see exactly what these career pathways are, what these nationally recognized credentials are. The last piece I want to mention, because all of this goes together, is a massive marketing campaign, if you will, to better advertise to our community and our families and our students how to hit the easy button to tap into all these amazing opportunities. So there's the 8th grade career fair that was hosted in partnership with CSU, and that was all about getting 8th graders very aware of career opportunities. So all these things kind of, they call it the big blur. It's blurring the lines between pre-K-12 and post-secondary and making sure that all families and students are aware of these options.
So Dwayne, here is an unannounced quiz for you. Can you tell us the link to the Future Ready's website?
I could, because it's real simple, right? psdfutureready.com. .org.
Could you
Or .com.
could you say that again a little
Yeah.
bit slower?
PSD Future Ready, no spaces, .org or .com.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, so thank you all very much. Just a couple of very quick comments. See if Lorinda has anything to share, and then we do have a motion to approve the agreement, the subgrant award agreement, and we all know the importance of carefully wording motions these days. Um, my comments are, first of all, thank you. I mean, this is wonderful, and I hope folks can see that we have a lot of challenges, complicated issues before us, but actually good work is being done and good partnerships, and this is certainly another example of that. And all the themes that we talked about earlier, I appreciate the reference to NOCO Works, a regional approach. Shout out to our Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development because they're very involved in these matters. I'm grateful for the gray-haired plumber that came to our house just yesterday and fixed a leaking spigot so we could hook up our water system for the garden. Took us weeks to try to figure it out. This guy did it in 15 minutes, and I'm hoping one of your vocational tracks is plumbing. I'm just very grateful for all of this, and also the dollar amount that we're talking about. I think it's $4 million, $2 million from the Bohemian Foundation Public-Private Partnership, $2 million from the county through the ARPA funds, $1 million to Thompson, $1 million to PSD, and this is quite awesome. Thank you all. Miranda, anything you want to share before we do the motion?
I will just add briefly, thank you, Commissioner Shaddock McNally, for mentioning Linda Hoffman, because really Linda and Cheryl and the
That's
Bohemian
great.
Foundation and a small group of community members brainstormed the kind of transformational projects that this community could benefit from that would not only recover from the pandemic, but also spring forward and create sort of a lifelong change. And so thank you to Linda. I know she's not listening because she's got lots of fun things to do, but I do hope that she does feel as she sees these agreements go through, does feel that she's made a change, and it really did make a difference. It made it easier for us to carry forward, and Laura has picked up this as Linda retired and become our ARPA expert. We don't have a name tag that says that, but maybe we ought to at this point. The transformational impact is clear, but I do want to say this has not been an easy road. The initial idea that came forward was different from what is happening now. And every time you all adapted, you came up with new ideas, you came back together and you figured out how do we help students and how do we help our young adults move out into the future as they graduate from high school. And so thank you for that. I think this is transformational. This has the ability to really do great things for our community and hopefully to keep young people here in town and keep our community vibrant. So thank you to all of you. Thank you especially to Linda.
Thanks. Thank you, Lorinda. And before we go to the motion, just wanted to see if you noticed I'm wearing my bolo tie today. And part of that is because after this, I'm heading up to Wellington Middle High School to hear an FFA presentation. The students and the teacher invited me up there. So with that, Commissioner Stevens, would you offer the motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the grant agreement regarding American Rescue Plan Collaborative Projects Grant Subaward to Poudre and Thompson School Districts for expansion of career and technical education programming and facilities.
Wonderful. Proper motion. Any further discussion, colleagues? Seeing none. Oh, is there? No. Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. Well done, team. We're all in this together. So we'll pause the broadcast for a moment, and if those of you who are comfortable, we'd like to take a picture. Welcome back, folks. We paused our administrative matters meeting for a moment to take a photograph and do a little bit of celebrating regarding a wonderful collaboration between the school districts, the county, and the community. We now move on to county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. It's really hard to beat that. It was two feel-good things this morning. I'll sort of stay on that a little bit, collaboration and working together. I do meet frequently with community partners, and so one of those meetings was also with Commissioner Kafalis, the City of Fort Collins, Pruder School District, Larimer County. We have a liaison meeting once a month. We do something similar with Thompson School District, just to make sure that we're not supporting each other and that we're sort of getting out of each other's way to do good business. And so it's always a good meeting, always a good chance to share information. I also met with City Manager Kelly DiMartino from the City of Fort Collins, and the Climate Smart and Future Ready executive team met this week as well. We meet quarterly just to provide some guidance to the team that works with us on that. Those are community partners from across the region, including folks from CSU, who really are engaged in these activities and interested in making sure we're telling that story to the community, what our progress is, how we're measuring it, those kind of things. And so those are always engaging meetings. I also was able to attend the United Way campaign social. We didn't have any representatives who worked on our team who were able to attend, and so I did attend on behalf of the county. It was great to see the community engagement, how many folks really do care about the community and show that through volunteer hours, through donating, corporate donations, employee-level donations, and of course we do that as well. We have a very successful campaign team who was just not able to attend. Finally, I think I'll point out that we did have our preliminary budget target work session yesterday, and so if anyone is interested in seeing that, if you didn't see it, it will be on the larimer.org YouTube channel, and you can find it at larimer.org website. I think that's all. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorinda. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to Commissioner activity reports, and we'll begin with Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A few things from last week. I attended on Thursday almost all day. I was at the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, the MPO, for interviews for a new executive director. Suzette Millette, who has been with us for many years, is retiring and will be leaving in August. So we're looking to bring someone in, hopefully, that can overlap with Suzette. And Suzette's provided remarkable leadership for that organization. For those folks who don't know, the MPO is in charge of regional transportation planning, but also air quality issues in the North Front Range area, which includes parts of Weld County and Larimer County. So it's a really important position, and we're excited. We had some great applicants and some great interviews, so we're looking forward to bringing someone in for that role soon that can get up to speed and help us plan for regional transportation. That same Thursday, we also had a Board of Health meeting. That was great to give some input on some of the work that the Board of Health is doing. I'll let others probably speak more about that since Commissioner Kafalis is the liaison to that board. On Friday, we had our Middle Income Housing Authority meeting. Really great news that the Middle Income Housing Authority will have the ability to use the middle income tax credit, in addition to other folks who would be able to use that. So we are just not seeing a lot of applications or possibilities come through because of the high interest rates, but really hoping to build middle income housing in our state, which is desperately needed for people who are doing works like first responders and teachers. And so we will continue to try to look for creative ways to get some of these projects off the ground. There's not a big budget for MIHA, so there's not gap dollars. It's really a bonding ability, and now this tax credit that's going to be able to make projects. So there may have to be creative ways to kind of fill in the gaps that some of these projects have, but looking forward to really get something built and change the outcomes for people who are really struggling with housing. On Saturday, we had the farmers market, the opening of the farmers market. So we got to go around with cowbells and welcome everyone to the farmers market. Then I was able to do a story time with the Poudre Libraries near the EV, which the electric vehicle that they had, and we read some really great stories about farmers and farming, and we had a big. We did 2 rounds of story time. We had a big audience, lots of kids out, lots of families out, everybody enjoying a really beautiful day and a really wonderful farmers market with lots of great. With lots of great vendors this year. So thanks to Maggie and Carrie Weiner in Extension for their hard work on the farmers market. Saturday night we attended, at least Commissioner Shannon McNally and I attended the Ungala for Homeward Alliance. That's a really great, fun fundraiser at Laurie Student Center at CSU, raising, I think they said at this point they've raised over $125,000 from that one event, which is remarkable. They did mention the fact that we had given money to be able to open the clinic at the Murphy Center. So that was nice to get that acknowledgement, and then just always great to see Sister Mary Alice Murphy, who was there with a table full of friends and enjoying the time. We know Sister has over the years has provided housing that's for probably over 5,000 families. And so she's a remarkable woman. She really started the affordable housing movement in our community, and really great to see her and acknowledge her too. And then on last night we had a meeting at Poudre School District. So it was funny to see them again this morning. But they are halting their process for school consolidations. And we were kind of there to give some input on what we're doing in the coming year, and especially I think around affordability issues, how we're hoping to change the landscape so that families can afford to live in our communities, and our schools can be vibrant and full. So that is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shaddock McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to go back to Tuesday. I attended the South Platte Basin Roundtable meeting, and I tried to jump in. Jump in and monitor some of the work there. And Dalen Figgs is our representative. But it's interesting, always the grant projects and some of the shoring up of water infrastructure and around the round table in the basin, and how we need to kind of work together to shore up these wetlands and things. And I was thinking about the dredge and fill, or what we call the Colorado Waters of the U.S. kind of backfill bill, and it's really important work. And when I was up planting trees on Sunday, the fens and some of the water table and some of the streams that will be there now with the runoff, but it won't be there towards the end of the summer. It just all kind of came full. It always reminds me about all the work that we do and how important it is with these roundtables and their partnerships. And I'm really glad that our staff are in these some of these tables and rooms and providing input. So I just wanted to kind of share that about the roundtable. There's some important work with our partners and other local governments to sit on that. I did have a meeting with the Colorado Forest Health Collaborative Network program coordinator, and Dr. John Sanderson from CSU. That program is kind of coming out from CSU, and they work with helping forest collaboratives across the whole state, which are local groups that try to work on wildfire mitigation and forest health. And it's a program that came out of CSU that's kind of privately and very smallly funded, and it's something that's part of the forest health plan and forest health. They're a very big part of our Forest Health Advisory Council, and I want to thank them for their time and their passion, because they're also part of this work that we mentioned today with the wildfire grant, because they are also helping those communities with, especially smaller communities across the state that don't have some of the resources that bigger counties have. So it's just, I wanted to just thank them for their time and their insights. It was a really good conversation. And then, it was just great to just to talk with some folks like that. We had busy time on Saturday or Thursday. I went up to Estes Park I had my National Association of Counties Rural Action Caucus. I was able to attend about half of that because I had to drive up to Estes Park, and we had a common grounds with a commissioner and a coffee with a co-responder at Kind Coffee. And a lot of folks couldn't come last minute, but we had some really great community members who hung out. And I want to thank I think it's Corporal Shea, Deputy Solano, and our Summit Stone Health Partners brought their clinicians, and thanks also to Sergeant Cook for helping me arrange that. But we had a great conversation with those co-responders about what's happening and what the need is, and how the Thompson School District, the co-responder program inside the schools that Thompson is funding, actually is going so well. They're going to do a second team. And so the folks that attended from the Estes Park community are on the hospital board and other things, and they were so impressed and so thankful to learn about all of that. And as we're getting ready to go, because we were inside this coffee shop, all of these tourists and other community members had been overhearing us, and they were like, "Tell us more. What's going on? That sounds amazing. I didn't know this was happening." And so it was pretty empowering. And we're going to have another one on June 1st. I really encourage everyone to come down and talk with those folks. And it's really important work. And other counties and other areas are now asking to come up and learn and train from all this. So it's just really important, really cool stuff. And then I came down and we had back for some other meetings, but we had our Estes Park Advisory Committee, and we're still working on those how that group is going to look and going forward. And we're moving to maybe quarterly meetings until we have more in the queue for work, but really important group that they bring together. And then we had our Land Stewardship Advisory Board meeting that I had to attend remotely. But really, they were very interested in Heidi presented on the climate action and our common action plan, future ready plan. And a lot of those members on that committee who are landowners who do land stewardship and work with us on noxious weed abatement and other things, they were very active participants in this, and they shared how proud they were of this program and the work and the county's work. And they were talking about how everything's on the website and the dashboard, and they were geeking out like I do about the dashboard. But they shared their partners around the state, especially those in Montrose who are trying to copy some of this work, have been going on the website and kind of stealing some of these ideas because they're just so impressed with what's up there. And a lot of these smaller, other counties are still kind of trying to grapple with that. But to hear about a Western Slope County going on the website and talking with members of our Steward Advisory Board, but also just really paying attention to what we're doing. And they say they haven't, and they work regionally and even nationwide, and they said they have never seen anything like that dashboard and some of the work that we're doing. So I just wanted to share that because I thought that was interesting for the land stewardship group to share with that. And then with the Board of Health, thank you to Director Gonzalez and the Board of Health Chair and all the Board of Health members. They're very welcoming. It was a really robust and very powerful conversation. And certainly, the push and the mantra for all of us was health in all policies. And I think we see that in our strategic plan and some of the work that we're doing. And it was really great to connect with them and have those powerful conversations. On Friday, we had our NOCO partners meeting, which is, they did it in person, and I was headed down there in person. Unfortunately, I had a little malfunction with one of my plumbing issues with the sub pump in my house, so I had to stay home and make sure my basement didn't flood. But it was a powerful meeting. We had Monty Williams from the U.S. Forest Service, Superintendent of Rocky Mountain National Park, Gary Ingram, our staff, Dalen Figgs, Megan. It was a really powerful conversation as we're looking at these guiding principles and talking points and mission work, and we kind of refined some of that language and stuff, and it was a really great conversation, and I'm just really pleased to be a part of that group and participate. It's a lot of fun. And then on Saturday, I agree with Commissioner Stevens. What a fun morning to kick off and to open the farmers market. I just want to thank Maggie and Carrie Brown and Carrie Weiner, Allison, all those folks who did such a phenomenal job to help us open the market and walk around and thank and welcome all of the vendors and participants, and just really great job. Some great vendors. I spent some money. I bought a plant. I got some breakfast, and it's just the excitement. Everyone just thrilled to be there. I'm so excited that the farmers market is opened, and they did a great job, and I want to thank them for all the planning and things they did. It was really powerful. And then I went to the Kids Pack Volunteer Appreciation event in Loveland at their new building. They're all moved in, and they have a little more funding, but they're moved in the building. It's phenomenal. It's gorgeous. They have the food stored there. They're not scattered. They're not having to pay rent anywhere else. all the storage, all the packing, everything's there. I'll be out there on June 2nd packing. I'm so excited about it. It was wonderful to see them in there and thanking their volunteers. And thank you for the warm welcome. And thanks to all the volunteer board members. They do a lot of work. They're there helping and making sure the people that come and pack. And then we, as commissioners, we supported and sponsored the Heart and Soul to Pete event at the Loveland Library. And I got to do the opening welcome, and what a great turnout. I want to thank our EDI board members who were there volunteering, and it was great to take a picture with them, and they were volunteering for the event, and it was dancing and music and kids activities, and then they had a whole display to share about the Camp Mache National Monument and the history, and had some great learning modules there for folks, and it was really a fun morning. And then I toured the tour of the Cultural Enrichment Center that's on that new location off of Mulberry, and they had an open house, and we got to see, talk with the board members, the volunteers, looking at their computers, their 3D printers. They have a center where they can do some recording, sound recording. The food they have is just really a cool opportunity, and I'm excited about that. And I want to thank them for giving me the tour and sharing all their things that they do there. And kudos to them for the opportunities they provide to our youth. And then, yes, Commissioner Stevens, I agree that Ungala was a wonderful event. We got to connect with a lot of partners from across the county and share in the success in the Homeward Alliance. Thank you to the director and David and David Rao and Sister Mary Alice. It's just always such a pleasure to see her, and the board members who are so passionate and do a lot of volunteer work. And yes, we got credit for helping with the clinic, the $1 million we did to open that clinic, and Summit Stone Health Partners is running it. But I was thinking, as they went through the Youth Homeless Shelter and Hardside Hill and all these projects they mentioned, the county has been an active partner and has funded $1 million, $1.5 million in all those projects. So really, all the projects that they shared that night, the Board of County Commissioners, our staff, and some of our funding and our rescue pending was in part of every single project they mentioned. And that made me feel very humbled and very grateful that we could make a huge difference in our community the last few years to move these projects forward. They are going to be transformational. But I think the great speech was that that's great, we got these going and these projects are happening, but now we have to keep it going and keep that funding and keep that sustainable. And I'm not sure how we do that, but their charge was to keep everyone in the room engaged and working together to keep this going. And I think Commissioner Stevens, I see you're nodding your head, and thank you for being there as well. And we had some great conversations, and I think you agree we still have work to do. So, and then I want to just share real quick. I've shared a little earlier. Just exciting to be up planting trees. Planted over 700 trees on Sunday with the Coalition for Pruder Watershed and Volunteers Outdoor Colorado. There was a mixture of folks from Denver and around the state and some Larimer County residents. And it was just a really big group. It was very exciting to be up there. We saw moose. Conditions were right. We planted that last tree and the thunderstorm came in. It was just, the timing couldn't have been better, but we got out of there. It was on private lands, but we got to drive back the areas that we planted the last couple of years. And we got to see some of the trees that are starting to grow. And the past flowers were just everywhere. So it gave me a little bit of hope, even though it's still devastating to see all the bare area. To see the past flowers and some of those trees we planted still growing. They could grow up to 6 inches a year, I guess, but they still have to be established. And then the wetlands, it just really filled my heart and soul to be up there and to give back and to get I could not keep my gloves on. I wanted to feel the dirt and plant, and some of that dirt soil was black, but it was rich, and it was really a heartwarming day. And I want to thank them all for giving us that opportunity. So over the weekend, I planted over 1,400 trees, and over the last 3 years, the partnership has planted 32,000 trees. So it's still not enough, but it's still tremendous amount of work, and that's why I wanted to give Coalition for Pruder Watershed and all their partners another shout out, because that's something besides mitigation work. We're trying to also replenish our forest. And thank you to the Pooter School District for inviting us last night. It was a really powerful conversation. And I want to thank the Thompson Valley Emergency Services, Chief Robinson, Cheryl Fayen, and the fire chiefs from several fire stations throughout Larimer County, and I think Will came over too. It is EMS Week. It's the 50th anniversary of EMS Week, and we want to really thank and celebrate our first responders, our EMS folks, our dispatchers, our EMTs, our paramedics, all of them, all our EMS professionals. We got to think about the past and all the things they've done and innovations and forging into the future. That's their theme, forging the future. The work that they do on a daily basis to save lives and to help folks in need, we can't forget. And they have been part of this pandemic and transition. Thank you for inviting me to the barbecue and get to connect with you all. And thanks for always making me feel welcome. Just a powerful group. And the collaboration, again, so we talked about the regionalism collaboration. To see the collaboration between all the police departments and the sheriff's office and all those agencies is something I have not seen in a long time. And they just honor and celebrate each other and partner. And I wanted to also celebrate and lift up that partnership and collaboration because it is outstanding as well. So thanks. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll pass because I will be leaving at 11 a.m. In order to be up to Wellington by 11:30. So we do have an executive session, legal matters. No decision is expected. Commissioners Shadegg, McNally, would you offer the motion, please?
I move that the Board of County Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding current legal status of all pending state and federal court cases in which Larimer County is a named party.
Thank you, Commissioner. Proper motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes 3-0. We go into executive session. We won't be returning. We wish everyone listening and watching a good day.